Is Juniors one of the best fan-made FNaF games out there? Welcome back, my fellow gamers. It's me, Amanda. What is your favorite fan-made FNaF game? Let us know in the comments. Also, let us know in the comments if I'm saying it right. I think you say Juniors. I've always said it Juniors, but it could be JR's. Just thinking about that now. Number 10, Backstage VHS Tape, Episode 1. After Tuesday night, you end up finding a VHS tape following your investigation that night. Of course, you watch it, because why wouldn't you watch it? I'm sure nothing bad can happen as a result of watching a videotape you randomly find, right? The Ring? In the VHS tape, what you witness is Freddy carrying a disembodied arm down a hallway. At first it seems sweet and cute, but then later when you arrive at the door where I suppose Freddy was meant or intending to deliver said disembodied animatronic arm, things quickly become sinister. On the door is a note that reads, "Beware the Mangle." The light in the hallway then turns very red, and in shadow you can see the Mangle's face in silhouette, or what we assume is the Mangle's face anyways, over Freddy's, who looks up before the tape turns to static. What happens to Freddy next? We can only assume nothing good, as it looks like the Mangle was ready to devour something, maybe that arm, or maybe Freddy. I don't know. And friends, before we move on to the next spot, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Gaming, be sure to check out our newest channel, Most Amazing Top 10 Anime. Let's see how fast we can get to 100,000 subscribers! Number 9, people being possessed. One of the disturbing moments from this game comes right at the beginning when you are instructed on how to find out who is possessed. Who is possessed? I do not want to find out any of that. I don't even want people to be possessed, thank you very much. Never mind find out about it. Oh, that sounds horrifying. Possession is probably one of my biggest fears in all of life. I have always feared the idea of losing control of myself or of others around me losing control of themselves, being taken over by another entity who can make you do unspeakable or horrible things. Although, if we're trying to stop the possession, I guess that could be good. But that still means we have to confront it first, which, as I said, I'm not really here for that. Number 8, watch out for haunted animatronics. So not only do we have to keep an eye out for animatronics that are possessed and mark them down in order to clear out the ghosts, but we will also at times need to call the animatronics who are getting damaged in to be repaired, which I guess over time they just, they've become more damaged. I don't know. Sounds easy and harmless enough though. But also, of course, it actually isn't, because repairing animatronics, it's never safe in the world of FNaF, even in the fan-made world of FNaF, the extended FNaF verse, if you will. One thing you are instructed to keep an eye out for right at the beginning is haunted animatronics that may report to you to be repaired when you call them. If they are haunted, you are instructed to not repair them. In fact, you shouldn't even be calling them. Just the thought of what may happen to you if you don't follow this rule is enough to send a shiver down my spine. I'm thinking the animatronic goes all haywire and crazy and then obviously attacks and ends you, which is obviously shown by a jump scare, but jump scares just allow me to imagine what else happens, and it can't be anything good, can it? Number 7, crunch crunch. Even at the start of the game, there was a moment where I felt particularly spooked. In the beginning, you meet your character, a man who seems to be staring at his hands, not knowing where he is or if he is alive. He laments that he feels empty, and as though he's being watched or stalked by some entity, some likely spooky entity. From seemingly behind or perhaps all around him, he hears a sound, a crunch crunch. Crunch. My brain immediately went to an animatronic munching on some unsuspecting victim, grinding them up inside themselves. What if someone like Chica the Chicken didn't just enjoy pizza and cupcakes, I wonder? What if an animatronic developed a taste for something else? A taste for human flesh? The other thing that adds to the scariness of this moment is that we see all this happen on a screen that seems to be lightly covered in what looks like blood splatter. Or I mean like the images, the images we see look like they have blood splatter. But hey, maybe it's paint, maybe it's ketchup, who knows. Number 6, Paulbear. Paulbear is disturbing, and not just because of his appearance, but because his name also sounds like something a lot more morbid than what he appears to be. I feel like there is an indication in this game straight away that you may be just straight up dead, and this might all be like some weird hallucination when you first meet him. His name is Paulbear, which might just sound like the harmless combination of the names Paul with, you know, the animal bear, Paulbear. But if you say them together as they are meant to be said, considering that there is no space or hyphen between them to denote any kind of pause or separation really, you are saying Paulbear, which sounds quite similar to pallbearer. A pallbearer is a person at the funeral who's responsible for carrying out the coffin. Usually there are multiple pallbearers, as coffins with or without people inside tend to be like solid wood, so they're quite heavy. For us though, we only seem to get one pallbearer. Maybe we only need one because our body's already gone. Number 5, inside an animatronic? At the beginning of the game, you wake up and are told you are in the Barren, a sort of limbo, a place between life and death. But the fact that there is a brain above you, if you look up there, made me feel like we were either inside our own mind or perhaps inside the mind of an animatronic. You know what I mean? Especially as there is, like I said, a brain above you. It made me think that you are perhaps within an animatronic and that Paulbear is the representation of a previous spirit that basically needed your help to move on so that they would not be stuck here. But instead, you would be stuck there in their place. Which, I don't know about you, but I feel like being stuck in between life and death is definitely a fate worse than death, at least in my opinion. So this creeps me out. Number 4, looming figures. Whoa. One of the immediate things I noticed in Juniors from the moment you wake up in the Barren is that there are figures looming on the edges of the dimly lit grassy area? The Paul Cave, I guess? That's one of the signs, if we want to call it that. They appeared to me to be clowns or like bears, similar to or more horrifying and older looking really than Paulbear. Definitely at least bigger and far more menacing. What is their purpose? Why are they there? Well, at the beginning of the game you don't really know, which is what makes their presence even more horrifying and menacing in that moment. They also seem to be gathered in like a semicircle or a complete circle around you, as though they're waiting for your defenses to fully drop or for you to be left alone so they might all at once attack you and tear you to pieces. I don't like when it seems like figures are staring at me from the shadows, but they're just on like the edge of my field of vision. The thought of it just makes the hairs on my head stand up. When I was writing this, I could like feel my hairs just lifting slightly. Number 3, the whole office setup. Oh boy, this is a spooky office. Another terrifying element of this game is the office. It isn't so much a moment, I guess, as a place, I know, but still it's completely horrifying, and the first time you wake up there you're like, woo, this is spooky. Also, I just love like the graphics and the design in this game. It's realistic but also somewhat childish and toy-like in appearance. It's just got great animation and art in it, and I love it. But that doesn't make it any less spooky. In fact, maybe it makes it more spooky. In the office, you have an iPad or a smart tablet, if you will, with a bear themed cover wrapped around it, which you can click through for the cameras, and an old big box TV to watch said camera feeds on, which consistently flickers and looks like it's rated to the 80s or 90s or something like that. It looks old, in terms of the level of its tech anyways. The office is also covered in tons of creepy figures and statues, including a sneaky looking balloon boy and a bunch of creepy animatronic character masks. Yikes. Get me out of here. There's a lot of things going on in this office, and it's like everywhere you look you're like, that's creepy, that's scary, I don't want to look at this. Number 2, wrong guess jump scare. I kind of love Juniors because it's very much like a detective game, and in the case of you making incorrect guesses, everything can quickly go to shit here. Which I also love because it just feels very deduction-y. I like deduction games. As we discussed earlier, what you need to do is you need to watch the monitors carefully and keep an eye out for possession. Then you need to report that stuff. This can be denoted by flickering lights or handprints left behind by haunted animatronics, or later on the camera going all weird. However, if you pick the wrong animatronic when it comes to who you think may be possessed, you better watch out. They do not like being accused unless it's true, and they will jump scare you as a punishment. They're like, how dare you accuse me? I am not possessed. I'ma get you. Yikes. Also, these animatronic jump scares are horrifying, and you get to see some equally disturbing but fantastic artwork of the real haunted animatronic in detail after you are jump scared, which I both dread and love at the same time because it's like really pretty but also really creepy. Number 1, Marionette's music. The Marionette's music is loud and creepy, and it lets you know basically what room the marionette is in. Even though the marionette might not be an animatronic you suspected to be in this game at first, I actually actually love the design for the marionette here. The music in this game overall is just really creepy, but the marionette's music doubly so. If you hear the marionette music in a room and sense she's haunted, then you want to guess the marionette. But remember, guessing incorrectly results in you being jump scared. Also, side note, the marionette might be one of the worst people to be jump scared by in this entire game. So while that might not be the one who jump scares you if obviously you misguess the marionette, just know that they are someone you do not want to end up on the wrong side of. If there is, if you misguess them, they would jump scare you. So while they might not be the one who jump scares you depending on, what you're guessing and if it's right and all that stuff, just know they are someone you do not want to end up on the wrong side of if there is a risk of them jump scaring you, because their jump scare I think is one of the worst in this game. I personally am a big fan of this one. What a well constructed and spooky game. It's good. I also just love games where you have to kind of spot the difference, especially if it's like scary differences we're looking for. Makes me more nervous when I'm doing it, makes it a little more challenging. Perfect for this spooky season. I'll see you next time, but until then, keep on gaming on. Pew pew!